To all units, proceed to your post assignments. All units, proceed to your post assignments.
And the truth is, this is not a complicated legal analysis here. This is very straightforward. It gets complicated because people want it to be complicated. They want to push propaganda. They want to push their particular narratives. Everyone's in a separate tribe now, the way America is run. And that makes people very comfortable saying things they even know are outright lies, much less just engage in misinformation. But the only legal question here that gives you the legal answer as to whether or not this shooting is justified is, did the officer who fired the shot have a reasonable perception that he was facing an imminent threat of unlawful deadly force harm? If the answer to that is yes, he gets to shoot her in the face, and it's simply not a crime. And it doesn't just have to be defense of himself. It could be defense of the other officers right next to him. It can be defense of people down the street who were still subject to injury by this woman, this driver, Renee Good, wielding her automobile as a deadly weapon.
Right. There's the unanimous decision in Plumhoff versus Rickard, which I guess is probably the best Supreme Court case to cite. It's fairly recent, too. So it's not just about the officer. It's about people in the vicinity. Now, you say it's simple. I think what you're referring to is the basis upon which it's to be decided. It's easy to understand what that is. But would you admit it's a little bit more complicated, potentially, or at least, let's say, debatable as to, well, was it reasonable?
Well, people have to understand what reasonable means. And I want to mention, too, that Supreme Court decision you put up, that's perfect. It's appropriate to put it up. But that Supreme Court decision did not find new law. That's long established principle. They're just repeating what's always been the case. People have to understand what's reasonable. Reasonableness doesn't mean the optimal answer. It doesn't mean the answer you would have chosen. It doesn't mean that there weren't better answers available. You're not required to make perfect decisions in self-defense. You're only required to make reasonable decisions in self-defense. And reasonable means that you were applying your powers of reason to the facts presented to you. It could have been a suboptimal choice. It could have been better options available. That doesn't make it unlawful as long as it was a reasoned decision. It wasn't speculative. It wasn't made out of bare fear or panic. That's all that's required. And in that context, this officer had a 2,000-pound car used against him as a weapon. Any reasonable person would believe, I'm now reasonably subject to being killed or maimed as a result of that weapon being used against me. That's a deadly force threat. The deadly force threat was unlawful. It was reasonably perceived. It was imminent. It was actually occurring. Those are all the conditions you need for a lawful use of deadly defensive force.